Assassination Classroom, Season 2, Episode 18. Nagisa's ghost appears. What? That's crazy! Karasume was just like, I guess I gotta just let this happen. This is gonna come down to one-on-one, isn't it? Can't sleep on Nagisa. It is one-on-one. You just know this is going to bring out something about their characters and their friendships and the strain in their relationship that was hinted at last episode. There is no exercise we will not benefit from at a deep soul spiritual level, because all exercises flow from things, and all things flow from the world, and all the world flows from existence, and all of existence flows from the source. We are just participating in its reflections. Episode 18, Outcome Time. And I bet the differences in their individual philosophies are what informs the outcome of their battle. And we get an audience. All our friends are watching. Definitely thinking outside of the box, which is very on brand for this whole deliberation. Karasume was not happy about it though. But I mean, like, that's the game. They are diametrically opposed somehow. No, this is a Nagisa tactic. That means he wins on thematic grounds. You have to do the compromise. That's interesting, because I've thought about this with the heroes and villains thing, but even though there's no villains here, it might be a similar pattern, where the challenge you take on as a hero, which is an inevitable part of it, you just have to accept and cope with, is that you have to do more work than the villain. I mean, that's actually one of the reasons why villainy is common, because it's the easier path in a sense. Like, it's not easy to live that way. It's difficult in other ways, but it's kind of like you have fewer boundaries, fewer conditions, fewer obstacles. It's like you just do whatever you want. You can break any line. You can be completely thoughtless, instinctual. The villains can use collateral damage to get to you. You cannot use collateral damage to get to the villains, and your job is just way harder. But in there is the very crux of what you're fighting for. So there's really no compromising it. In this situation, saving Koro-sensei is the above and beyond version. It's the heavier burden choice. There's a lot more responsibility, there's more risks, it's more of an unknown. So on those grounds, I feel intuitively why Nagisa might be inclined to accept that kind of challenge. Oh, you'll never forget it. You'd also get it from saving him in a similar way, but then like also you'd save Koro-sensei. But I'm impartial, I have no bias. Let the best Nagisa win. What are you getting at? I wonder who he's talking about. That is a nice way to look at it. I think that's true. But we gotta settle this issue. Here we go. Here we go. We're filling in the blanks. We need to know what we're fighting for, really. You got a lot of leverage. You don't want to admit it as a teacher. And also, if you don't understand it, you hate it when you're watching it as an observer. I was talking about this in Vigilantes. It's hard to explain, but in a certain sense, there are no structures. There is no teacher. There is no parent. There is no society. There is no government. It's just people doing stuff. And then in that aggregate, we draw a line around it and call it something. Actually, you can make a similar argument for subjects, right? Like, there's just what is, and then, you know, we draw neat little boxes around things and say, this is an area of study. And we think the area of study itself is a thing. It's not. It's an abstraction to help us, like, sort of sharpen our focus. But reality is just reality. So, like, whatever the rules are, whatever society is, if people like you enough, you'll move up. And if people don't like you enough, you'll be kept where you are, or you'll be pushed down, assuming you're not the one making the decision. And this can be really frustrating when you think the values are this thing you've been told, right? You follow the rules, you get ahead, you work hard, irrespective of what the actual work is and what the yield is, or who the work's for, and you will succeed. And buy into that only to see it kind of play out a little bit differently. Like, it's close enough that you don't outright reject it. Because, like, yeah, generally speaking, those who work harder do get farther. And generally speaking, people who follow the rules go farther other. But that's not the whole story, because then suddenly you're like, this person didn't do any of those things, and they got all the things I wanted. Well, it's because those rules were a best guess measure. They also were an abstraction. They are just the aggregate of people making decisions, and people can always make whatever decision they want. And if there's enough support for something, it's going to happen. I mean, this is actually terrifying. There's no floor. Like, if everyone turns against you, that's it. There's nothing you can do. We often believe, or we're led to believe, there are these tangible forces that kind of keep things in line and keep us safe and stuff. But it actually, in its pieces, is kind of chaotic, and it only looks like order when you zoom out and look at it. As a teacher, you don't want to give preferential treatment, but it is tough to resist the temptation, or sometimes it comes out subconsciously. You just really like this student because they get it in a way you feel is important. They make your job easier, or they make your job more fun. In some crucial way, you're on the same page. And so maybe they get away with a little bit more. And other students are like, what? But I got an A on my last exam. It's like, yeah, but actually I hate you. The story I always think of for this was also in school, but among the teachers, where when I first started, there was a teacher who we would have meetings about like how great his or her teaching methods were and their board techniques and all this stuff. And like 2 months later, that teacher was fired because no one liked him or her. The students were complaining to their parents and teachers were complaining to the administration. So it's like, you'd think, perfect teaching, rise up in the teacher ranks. But the reality was we need to be able to be around you and like run the social element of school because it's just a lot of people here. That's the real game. Karma is very good at figuring out the game. That's, again, very benevolent of the Gisa, not envying him or hating him, but admiring him. And we bonded over Sonic Ninja The Return in the flashback. Oh, obviously, if you walk into an alleyway. Those two things contradict each other. The most obvious ploy. The way he joyfully jumped on his chest. If we were at a healthier place in life, the split here might be that Karma just like beat the crap out of these two dudes joyfully. That's not typically what you would associate with like healthy friendship behavior. But Nagisa's like, wow, so strong, so smart. That's a common friendship thing, often not true. Okay. This is very interesting. Maybe this is actually also similar to Koro Sensei and the lab assistant. I think this also comes up in ReZero with Greed, where it's so frustrating, it's so difficult to stomach this, when you have what you tell yourself is your value. You've made a whole narrative about like, this is what makes me special. This is where my value comes from. This is why I'm better than other people. And just naturally, the implications of that are people without those things are lesser or beneath you. So you have this working framework for evaluating yourself and others, and you get a lot out of it, and you're really attached to it. And then along comes somebody who's worthless on that scale. But through interacting with them, you get the nagging suspicion that they're better than you. They have something you don't have. And what's worse, they're content with it. Or they have something you want but don't know how to get. Or you can't get them to buy into your framework and bow to you because they don't have the same framework. The way that often gets perceived is as a personal attack because this is your identity. Taking Koro Sensei as an example, his framework was, it's all about skill and power and, if I can kill anyone I want, then I'm unstoppable and I'm number one. And then he meets like weak little old lab assistant who's just like the worst of the worst. Can't even pick out a t-shirt. Embarrassingly weak. So why is she better than me? Why is she stirring up emotions in me? Why does she seem to have something that I don't have? Why can't I understand it? Why don't I have that if I'm the best? And it's a very interesting place to be in because there's two paths. One is digging in. You resent the person for this discomfort they've inflicted on you. This is greed. How dare you challenge my throne? The other is to revise or even abandon your framework, which means you're abandoning your current identity and whole value system. And so now you're nothing. You're reduced to ashes. Or less dramatic, you amend it and adapt it. But it's still painful. So like Karma, I'm super smart, I'm super powerful, I'm standing on the stage. Nagisa is my audience, but like, why am I getting this feeling like Nagisa is a threat? That he has something I'm not quite understanding. What is interesting and where this might actually be coming from is actually the fact that Nagisa is adoring him. That there's this sort of benevolence of looking at Karma and seeing him, speaking of being seen, not judging him as much based on his game and exterior characteristics, or not falling into his game of deliberately causing conflict so that he can establish some sort of dominance, which is something he loves to do. And instead just liking him, it's a different sort of game. And so a great friendship was born. Yeah, there's always been a hidden blade. Oh, but you can't. It's a different game.
明らかにそれとジャンルが違うから
It's a different sort of darkness.
そんなやりにくさから気がつけば疎遠になってい
It's
く
very honest.
その相手とこの3年生
It's
で
also very real. I mean, I think this is a thing in friendships.
勝たなきゃ自分の意見は通らない。
And also, reunite as friends.
ねじ伏せてやる。
I mean, there's definitely a link between them. They're not as dissimilar as Karma might think. It doesn't have to be antagonistic, but part of the beauty of friendship is that you're different but complementary models, and so you learn and grow from each other. But there's still sort of like a testing phase happening, right? Like you're each living out your version of the world, and there are almost certainly going to be places where they are not complementary, at least until something has shifted in one or the other that makes it compatible. Dun 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 dun.
勝利欲、征服欲、若者に許された大いなる闘争心。
Permitted in the young.
先生のことなど忘れてしまいなさい。
Yeah, this is about a different thing now, isn't
そ
it?
こにあるのは君たち自身の答えです。
This is the greatest day of Koro Sensei's life, even though his fate lies in the balance. It's not gonna be brute strength, right, Nagisa? You don't need to play his game.
ナイフをもう一本携えている。
We've learned.
猫だましの準備。
But Karma knows about the
当
clap
然カルマ
stunner.
君も気づいている。
This paves the way for fake clap stunner, or fake clap stunner where you do a clap stunner. Or, since Karma knows that, fake clap stunner. Possibilities are endless. Or, no clap stunner at all. Keep Karma guessing.
武器も考え方も対極にある殺し
I mean, you also can go for the flag,
ど
right?
う決着に持っていくか注目ですよ。
Oh, I will, Koro Sensei. I don't like the sudden nature version of this, though. I think it should be 2 out of 3. I mean, I guess it's assassination. There is no 2 out of 3.
今だ。
うまいナイフを奪った
チャンス。
I don't need no knife. Karma knows he's going for it, though. Karma could take it.
させてからゆっくりとどめを刺してや
Oh
る
no, we're in Karma's torture zone now. He's very comfortable here.
カルマ君、わざと渚君の攻撃受けてるね。
It's
そ
humiliating.
の攻撃だって聞いてるはずだぜ1年みっちり鍛えられてきたんだから
Karma also would want to break his spirit.
駆け引き、戦略、倒し方、そういう戦いの先にあるのが彼の暗殺です。片や渚君は純粋暗殺者。
And there's no way either of them can win right now. They're just like slugging each other. But I guess, yeah, one can give up or get KO'd.
かかと落とし喧嘩に持ち込まれちゃ勝ち目ねえ
The axe kick, the ultimate technique. Nothing can defeat an axe kick.
自分の思いをさらけ出せる場所
A
な
place where I can safely beat up people without repercussions. Oh, yeah, also feelings.
でも殺すよそれが正しいと信じてるから
Now would actually be a great time to try to kill him. Imagine this was all an assassination attempt for Koro Sensei. They were all in on this. That's actually genius. Oh, why? It was just a straight up clap stunner.
下を噛んでダウンを防いだ。
殺してみろよ渚君
But he has the antidote.
それを全部へし折って俺が勝つ
Also at stake here is Karma's soul, sort of.
これさえ防げば俺の勝ちだ
Sealing his excellence. Oh.
方々め
Submit, we can submit him.
上げて意識を奪う。
Like the snake he is.
自分ではなく、カルマ君の最も得意な分野で決着をつけ
Speaking
る
of making a point,
俺が
breaking people's souls,
渚君に
spirits.
やったのと同じように俺に敗北をちゃんと認めさせるために
I feel like Karma might just die or pass out. Nagisa?
僕が喧嘩？
Oh no, is this sympathy?
ギブ
Wow.
俺の負けだよ渚
Okay, he tapped.
そこまで。赤チームの降伏に
We're
よ
not trying to murder.
青チーム殺さない派の勝ちとする。
The irony of it being the don't kill team, as Nagisa almost murders Karma to save Koro Sensei. I'm taking that gesture as a tacit acknowledgement of Nagisa's beauty and a letting go a little bit of his own thing. Wow, so we're really doing this.
乾杯だ殺先生を助けたいんだろ
And they're gracious in defeat, which is great.
伝染病にかかったネズミみたい
なんでそんな悪口はスラスラ出てくんの？
They really do, just like
カ
torture.
ルマ君は。
It just comes so
てか
effortlessly.
さ
I've always wanted to be able to do that.
それも変な気がするけど。
じゃあ俺だけ呼ぶよそ
Run
れでいいの
an even field.
大きな選択を迫られた時、人は本心をさらけ出し、 時と
That
して
is true,
本気で
yeah.
争います。でも
Stakes really bring things out of
生徒たち
people.
を見てください。本気で戦った者同士だからこ
But yeah,
そ
look at what this brought out of them.
時に闘争こそが皆の仲を最も深めるチャンスになるので
You
す。
know, it sounds counterintuitive, but I
お前に
agree.
言わせれば分裂も戦争も教育のうちか
For a lot of reasons. Like, one, there's always going to be that thing, like I said, and you have to figure out how to work through that. And like, part of that is not through hiding it and keeping it bottled up, but by trying to navigate it. If the guiding star is high enough, where at the end of the day, you know, you really care about each other, it'll get sorted out. The other thing is, if you can battle someone, go through a conflict with someone, and actually be a substantial threat in that conflict, and still come out of that in good spirits and with each other's best interests at heart, you now each have more respect for the other because you've watched the other be a warrior. I've told the story many times, but like, I have a direct experience of this where the first time I met someone, it was an arranged fight over a girl, and I spent 2 weeks unable to walk, and I lost that girl anyway, eventually, but to this day, he's one of my best friends. A bond was formed that day. If someone can meet you on equal ground, bring a fighting spirit, or, you know, it doesn't have to be physical fighting, but just some real positive attribute, like strength, capability, whatever, and then be decent about it no matter the outcome. That's somebody notable, and now you have this shared thing. And the air has also been cleared. It's been cleared of like the game of it, the mask of it. There's no masking yourself when you're punching each other in the face. It's all laid out pretty bare. Or if you're really venting your soul in a very pure way. It's like a storm that leaves the air feeling fresh.
皆それぞれ思うところはあるだろう戦って決めたクラスの方針に異論はない
Interesting. I was very curious about that.
助ける方法を探すにしても条件がある
You cannot let the world be
探す期限
destroyed.
は今月いっぱいまでだ
Okay, that gives us some time for a backup if it goes wrong.
1月の結果がどうなろうと2月から先を全力で暗殺に費やすと
This is a very fair compromise.
全力でやると
I like it. I really like that as an outlook and an outcome. It kind of covers all the bases. Like, we can reach for the top, but we're also making sure we're avoiding the calamity. This applies, I think, at a bunch of levels. It's hard to prescribe one sweeping thing over the other. There are often a lot of other conditions that should be met. So an example of this in normal life is, I think you actually can't get it wrong. Like, in terms of your attempts, in terms of the paths we choose and the things we strive for, mistakes actually can end up being great. You know, you get things wrong. That's fine. It goes way worse, I think, if there's no attempt at all. You know, it's just a big nothing. So it's safe to dream and safe to swing for the fences in anything at any time. But there's also the precondition in there of like, you probably need to avoid game over events, right? Like, you don't want to knowingly do something that will be the end of the pursuit altogether. In the most extreme case, death, which is ruin of any kind, or anything that puts you in a really deep hole that there's no getting out of without severe damage. Drug addiction is another one. Sacrificing your social life for and simultaneously tying your finances to the wrong romantic partner. Things that'll just really tremendously set you back. If you have those bases covered, then shoot for anything, you know? As long as you're doing something and as long as you're avoiding the worst of it, then you maybe can't get it wrong. And then it's safe to dream, and then it's great to strive for the highest thing you can currently see. And a cool effect of that also is that it takes a little bit of the panic out of it. Not a lot of it, not all of it, because there's still very high stakes, but I think there's a lot more room to engage with this in a creative way and a character potential maximizing way than if it was like, if this doesn't happen, everyone in the world dies.
本来の目的は地球を救うことなんだから
Right.
殺す研究と並行で
Yeah, I was thinking he could just
殺さないで
leave.
済む研究も進めてるはずだ
Well, I wouldn't count on them doing it, but it's worth exploring. We're brainstorming.
各国トップの科学機関が地球を救うプロジェクトチームを結成
I mean,
してい
maybe
るが
they still are hoping on some level to use them as a
情
weapon.
報は全て
Tentacle! Means so much more now. What do you want your tentacles to be?
オンラインでつながっている PC なら大体入れます
Was the disrobing necessary?
革新に関わる情報はオンラインでやり取りされた形跡がありません
Did you try Google?
肝心の黒先生を救う研究はやってんのかよ
これアメリカ班の研究
Please tell me we're going to America.
国際宇宙ステーション
I mean, after the mouse, we sort of have to keep everything there.
万が一大爆発するような研究をしていた
We
としても
really need you, Okuda. We need your science.
救う方法があればまず救うしなければないでみんなも腹を決められるでしょ渚
Yeah, there's not much room for being
クラ
passive
スの
here.
大事な目標だもんね
You don't want to be sitting around waiting for a lab result.
席を外してもらえませんか
Suspicious.
ここからの話はあなた方の責任問題に
Well,
な
now I
り
want to be here more.
近々これが ISS に向けて打ち上げられるのを知ってますか
Maybe we're not going to America, but going to space.
日本で開発中の実証試験機です
Proof of concept. That sounds safe.
これに本物の人間が乗っていたら
Yeah, what if? Of course, I say what if.
暗殺教室季節外れの自由研究テーマ
Are we actually going to
ステ
space?
ーションをハイジャックして実験データを盗んでみよう。
マジで
イエスマジか
I mean, it's not as exciting as America, though. I mean, I guess technically space is an American colony, so I'll take what I can get. I love how in the middle of this super important high stakes battle for Koro Sensei's life, we just sort of forget about it for a bit to hash out Nagisa and Karma's friendship struggles. But it didn't feel unnecessary or like a diversion. It actually was super engrossing, and I actually forgot about Koro Sensei for a minute. It feels really cool to think of them being more united. The two shining star students in their different ways being on the same team. Overall, I really like this mini arc of the Battle Royale war games. This too, I think, is one of those things where you're focused on the game, but really it's them. It's all them. What I see is people fighting for their ideals with pure hearts and with love and regard for each other, and letting that sort of be paramount in the whole thing. It would be really unsatisfying if they got super petty about it and one of them won and then there was bad blood. Some people left. They had their egos hurt about losing, but that's not what this class is. It's funny, man. Sometimes I think it's no longer about finding answers, but more about just really understanding the ones we already have, because it's all here. People will call it naive or idealistic, and it is idealistic. That doesn't make it any less of something to strive for or any less viable, any less real. Just like the attempt to save Koro Sensei.